Most gardeners know the frustration of waiting. You build a compost pile, layer your kitchen scraps and leaves, maybe turn it once or twice, and then, well, you just stare at it month after month. 6 months pass, sometimes even a year, before you finally have something dark, crumbly, and usable. But the Amish don't wait that long. Generations of farming without chemical shortcuts forced them to perfect composting into a system that works fast and reliably. Instead of waiting a year, they can have finished compost in as little as 10 to 12 weeks. Their method isn't based on expensive additives or complicated machinery, but on a balance of materials, smart layering, and a few well-timed accelerators that get microbes working at full speed. The Amish understand that compost is not about just throwing everything in a heap and letting nature take its course. Left alone, organic matter will eventually rot, but it'll take far too long. Their first principle is balance. For every portion of nitrogen-rich greens like fresh grass, manure, or vegetable scraps, there must be at least twice as much carbon-rich browns like straw, dry leaves, or corn cobs. This 1-to-2 ratio fuels decomposition without causing the pile to turn slimy or smelly. The greens provide protein for microbes while the browns provide structure and long-lasting energy. When this ratio is off, compost either stalls or, honestly, it stinks. When it's right, the pile heats quickly, sometimes within 48 hours. Gardeners today can follow the same ratio by measuring a bucket of greens against 2 buckets of browns each time they add to their pile. What separates the Amish method from casual composting is the deliberate layering. They don't just dump materials together, instead, they create alternating layers starting with coarse browns at the bottom, such as corn cobs or twigs to allow airflow. On top of that comes a layer of greens, whether fresh garden waste, manure, or kitchen scraps. Over this they sprinkle a thin layer of soil or finished compost. This step is crucial because it seeds the pile with microbes that jumpstart the breakdown. The process repeats: browns, greens, soil. By the time the pile reaches 3 or 4 feet high, it's structured like a layered cake. This creates multiple decomposition zones that heat evenly. For gardeners applying this, a shovel of manure or a bucket of food scraps can be followed by 2 buckets of straw or leaves, capped with a thin dusting of soil. Even with the right ratios, decomposition stalls if moisture is wrong. The Amish test it simply: grab a handful of composting material and squeeze. If it drips water, it's too wet. If it falls apart dry, it's too loose. The correct level is when it holds together like a wrung-out sponge. To maintain this, they water the pile lightly during dry spells and cover it with straw during rain to prevent soaking. Airflow is equally important. Instead of turning the pile constantly, which just wastes effort, they build it in a way that encourages natural aeration. Browns like straw and corn cobs provide channels, while occasional turning at 3-week intervals ensures oxygen penetrates. Gardeners who follow this only need to turn the pile 2 or 3 times during the process, saving work while maintaining speed. Perhaps the most overlooked part of the Amish method is their use of natural accelerators. While many modern gardeners buy commercial compost starters, the Amish rely on simple farm resources. A shovel of fresh manure acts as a microbial inoculant, adding billions of bacteria. A sprinkle of wood ash supplies potassium and balances acidity. Sometimes a bucket of buttermilk or diluted molasses water is poured over the pile. The sugars and proteins act like a feast for microbes, causing populations to explode. In one example, adding a gallon of water mixed with 2 tablespoons of molasses over the pile cut decomposition time by nearly a month. The result is a compost that not only finishes quickly but also contains a wide spectrum of nutrients and living organisms. Ordinary compost heaps can sit cold for 6 months or more, slowly breaking down with minimal microbial activity. In contrast, a well-built Amish pile hits 140 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit within the first week, cooking weed seeds and pathogens while accelerating decomposition. By the 3rd week, the pile is turned once, mixing outer material into the hot core. By week 6, the pile is darkening, shrinking, and filled with earthworm activity. By the 10th to 12th week, the compost is finished, dark, crumbly, with the smell of rich earth. For comparison, that's half the time of traditional backyard piles. Gardeners applying this method can expect a regular supply of compost every season instead of just once a year. To follow this method at home, start with a designated compost space at least 3 feet wide and 3 feet high, since smaller piles lose heat too quickly. Lay down a base of coarse browns like twigs or corn cobs, add a 6-inch layer of greens such as kitchen scraps or grass clippings. Cover with 12 inches of straw or dried leaves. Sprinkle a thin layer of soil over the top, no more than an inch. If you have manure, add a shovel across the pile at this point. Repeat this layering until you reach the desired height. Water lightly until materials feel like a wrung-out sponge. Cover the pile with straw to hold moisture and heat. After 3 weeks, turn it once by moving outer material into the center. Add another gallon of diluted molasses water at this stage if you wish to accelerate further. Repeat turning at week 6. By week 10 to 12, the compost should be ready to use in beds, around trees, or mixed into potting soil. The Amish have never relied on chemical fertilizers. Their land must remain fertile year after year using only what the farm produces. This constraint forced them to master composting as a central practice. What makes their hack valuable today is that it is sustainable, low-cost, and accessible. Every gardener, whether suburban or rural, produces kitchen scraps, grass clippings, and autumn leaves. Most can access a small amount of manure or wood ash if needed. The method does not demand constant attention or specialized bins, only the discipline of correct ratios and timing. In an age when many gardeners worry about soil health and rising costs, this old-world system proves itself again as a practical modern solution. Compost is more than just fertilizer. It's the foundation of healthy soil and thriving gardens. The Amish have shown that with the right balance of greens and browns, careful layering, proper moisture, and a few natural accelerators, you can cut your composting time in half. What normally takes 6 to 12 months can be finished in just 10 to 12 weeks, giving you more fertile soil every season. This is not guesswork or gimmickry, but a proven system refined through generations of farming without shortcuts. If this guide has given you new insight into how to build faster compost, make sure to subscribe to Soil and Plant Doctor and share this video with fellow gardeners. By spreading these old-world methods, we can all learn to garden more effectively, sustainably, and with deeper respect for the wisdom passed down through time.